Well, hello, y'all. This is Amber Town Geehan, your terrific Tuesday $1 Million Messenger, calling you from the greater Phoenix area. And today I'm going to dive into some stuff that I've been working through, studying, and getting more information on. So who knows? It might be a part one. You never know. I had shared a ways back, probably a little bit, about emotions and how feelings are just a signal that trigger you. And feelings, I remember way back in the day when I went through counseling, premarital counseling, I remember the counselor talking about when I would say, well, I just think, I just get upset because I think when you do this, you do that, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, that's a thought. It's not a feeling. And so the feeling was, I get angry. And so I want you to think about feelings today. And I know sometimes people think, oh, I got to stuff my feelings. No, they are signals. They're like, they should be a feeling that comes up, whether it's jealousy, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, whether it's, anxious. It's a feeling to get your attention. So if anything, it should be like, ding, 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 ding. I need your attention here. And so I have compiled some stuff, and really part of emotions and feelings is to teach you something if you're willing to listen. And the part of the study, and I've gotten this from all different kinds of resources, so feelings are just a signal to either change the story about what you're thinking or change your perspective. So pivot and change your action. So you're either going to change your story, and your perspective, or you're going to pivot and change action. So it's a call to action is what feelings are. So if you feel something, it's usually a call to action. But I'm going to give you 6 steps to utilize your emotions, your emotional skills. And so 6 steps. First, when something rises up and you are just like, a little bit, angry, sad, mad, happy, it is the question to identify what emotion it is. Are you upset? Are you sad? Are you mad? Are you glad? Are you excited? What is the emotion? So name it. Figure out what it is and identify it. And then ask yourself, what are you really feeling? So when you get angry, ask yourself, what are you really feeling? I recently had a coaching call where the person was pretty upset, and we identified that it wasn't anger, it was hurt. We identified that it was hurt, not anger. That was the real feeling. That's what she was really feeling. So then you use in step 1, transformational vocabulary. So transformational vocabulary is a softener. So if you say, oh my gosh, I'm so hurt, that's so horrible, I just feel like dying, I think we go so drastic. A way to transform that is, I'm a little bit hurt right now. So it softens it. See how much that softens it? So the first thing is identify the emotion, ask yourself, what are you really feeling, and then soften it. So use that transformational vocabulary. Second thing is to acknowledge and appreciate the message it has for you. Sometimes this is so hard. Acknowledge and appreciate that it does have a message for you. Remember, emotions are just signals. It should be an alarm on top of your head going bing, 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 bing. I need your attention. Either we need to change the story here or we need to get into action. All right, number 3, get incredibly curious like a kid on what this means and what this message has to offer you. So what does this message have to offer you? What is the real message the emotion is trying to give you? So understand that there's a real message there. You can really identify it, and this can happen in a matter of minutes. So identify what is the real message this emotion is trying to give you. All right, number 4, get yourself reassured that you can deal with this emotion. Take a little trip down memory lane. Remember a time you dealt with the emotion successfully in the past, whether you were depressed, you were a little bit down. That was the message. Being a little bit curious makes it, was I depressed? Now I was a little bit down. Reset your priorities, because typically when you're in a depressed state, it's because you're out of control. And take one step forward on something you can control. But the number one thing is get reassured. You've handled this emotion in the past, so look in the past and say, hey, I've walked with depression. Some people name it depression. I would call it a little bit down because I would never want to label that on myself. But I would say I'm a little bit down. But look back in your past and think, when was the time that I dealt with being a little bit down before? When was the time I dealt with that? How did I do that? How did I successfully navigate it? So just reassure yourself you've been there before. Number 5, get certain that you can handle anything like this in the future. And the way you do this is by rehearsing it successfully. You rehearse it. So in the future, this emotion isn't a bad emotion. There is not one bad emotion out there. They're just signals trying to tell you something. Either you need to change your perspective or you need to change your action. Change your perspective or your action. So rehearse yourself in the future a few times, actually, handling this successfully, because this emotion will rise again. It will absolutely rise again. It will not go away. But then you can prepare yourself. Your brain literally cannot tell the difference between something you vividly imagine and something that has actually occurred. And number 6 is to take action and change your life. And I'm going to finish with this story, and I know I've shared it years ago, but I think it bears repeating right now, about rehearsing. So not just rehearsing your emotions successfully, that you're going to handle something successfully, is rehearsing your life. I was sharing with my daughter the other day as we were walking that one of the most influential people in my life next to my parents as I was growing up was my high school volleyball coach. And she was very, very impactful with me in positive thinking, in visualization, and everything. And so we would take the 1 hour before we had a match, and we would take the time, and we had this room that was in the girls' locker room that she had completely gutted. It had been a storage room that really had just overtaken with all kinds of stuff that nobody used anymore. So she had totally gutted it, and with her own money, put up some bench seating in there and a whiteboard and stuff like that. Well, there was no outdoor light. It was in the middle of the locker room. So when the door shut, if the lights were off, it was pitch black. And we spent the hour in there discussing what our match was going to look like. And we spent 30 minutes with music playing in the dark, visualizing how we would play during the game. I was a starting outside hitter. I played all the way around. So not only did I have to visualize hitting, blocking, transitioning, moving to the back row, serving, setting, there was always a time that we would take the second ball. If we took the second ball and we were not the setter, our job, and our coach trained us, we absolutely had to put our hands on that ball and set it to a hitter. It was not just to hit it back over. It was to set it to a hitter. And so we had to learn to play all the way around, but we had to visualize. And she taught us to visualize our game successfully, to visualize going after a shanked ball, one more step and getting it. And guess what? She trained our minds, and she trained us on the court. Therefore, we were the shortest team that took the state championships in 4A that year. And we were the total underdogs. But why? She trained us in our mind to see success before success was on the court. So are you taking that diligence in your own personal life today? Are you training your mind to think success, expect success, to forecast success, so much that your mind cannot tell the difference? Ladies, it is powerful. Visualization is powerful, but your mind is powerful. But the one thing that is true is your mind can't tell anything different between something you vividly imagine and something that has actually occurred. So why not start living a successful life in your mind first? Because that is where it happens. Way before it happens in life, you have to be able to think it and believe it before you can actually achieve it. So with that being said, this is Amber Geehan, your Terrific Tuesday $1 Million Messenger, signing off. Have an amazing Tuesday.